Hi, and welcome back to Serie A Podcast for the fans. I'm here. It's round 8 of the league, and it's been an interesting round. There's only been one draw in the round. Um, we're here on a very sad day that the legend Diego has passed. But I'm here with Bruno. Bruno, how you going, mate?
Yeah. As an Inter supporter, I don't talk about it, but in general, yeah. Look, I think this week's Serie A was one of the more predictable in regards to the top side teams, and there was a lot of action across the table, a lot of changes across the table, top of the table and the bottom of the table, and there was a lot of interesting games. So it was really good. But yes, and as you mentioned, Diego Maradona has passed. I don't know if people remember him for his time at Napoli or for his beautiful hand of God goal against England. His famous quote, "I don't care if the whole of England hates me because the whole of Scotland love me." And that just summed up Diego Maradona in a nutshell. But let's not dwell on that. Let's move straight into it. And I know the first game is a game you're going to be talking about. It was the first game to kick off the round. It was Crotone, and to come out with the win, but it was some interesting conditions. I think that the conditions, you look at videos that you see online in regards to the situation in Crotone, and there's floods, like absolute torrential floods, and the game still went on. So what do you think, Vince? How did you perceive it as a Lazio fan?
Yeah, the pitch. Even though it drained quite well, so we started the game with torrential rain, and then pretty much just before half time, it pretty much stopped raining, and the pitch dried out. And even in the second half, it only started raining pretty much with about 10 minutes to go. But in that time that it wasn't raining, the pitch was very playable. But it actually wasn't very good to play on in the raining patches. And Francesco Cherby was sensational at the back. I don't know how you read a ball that's coming in like at 30 k's an hour and then just stops in the water. He was just reading it all day. Maybe he was just on fire from international duty, but he was. I reckon that was the defensive performance of the season so far by one person. He was absolutely great. Super Chiro, covert negative, covert positive, negative positive. He had 15 tests and 14 were negative and the other 11 were positive. So a lot of confusion there, and he came back. He got the goal. He got the assist. Lazio's starting to warm up. They're starting to get their play. Well, they've virtually got most of their players back now. They're finding form. Crotone did have the first probably real chance of the game, and it just went wide. Other than that, it was pretty much just all Lazio. They were clinical, thoroughly deserved win. There's really, not much else to say about Lazio.
Yeah, look, I think those types of games where the pitch is in such disarray, it's so easy for the outsider to get that lucky goal. And, Lazio prevailed, they pushed through, and then they followed it up in the Champions League, coming away victors, setting themselves up very well for next round of 16 qualification. So, look, momentum's a powerful instrument, and they've done well. Talking about momentum, Atalanta came off a draw prior to international break with Inter. And they went into this Spezia game as massive favourites. And I think the result speaks for itself. It was the only draw of the round. It was 0-0. Looking back, I think Atalanta weren't really caring too much about the Spezia fixture, especially after getting belted 5-0 by Liverpool in the first leg. They came back and won 2-0. Picking up some crucial points in the Champions League. So you put that into context. Atalanta lost to Sampdoria, and then they won in the Champions League. They drew with Spezia. They're winning in the Champions League. I think it's a conversation of priorities right now with Atalanta, and I think they're prioritizing their Champions League over the Scudetto race, simply because there's a lot more money involved in Champions League. What do you think, Vince?
Yeah, well, Spezia won the last start against Benevento before the break. So, picking up points here was crucial for them as well. That's 4 points in 2 games. It's very important. They actually started okay. They hit the post. Atalanta scored a goal, and it took me a couple times to see the offside player. Even though it was the guy that got the assist, but it just I really it was that close. It was pretty close. So that they had the goal disallowed, and then I think it was the last 15 minutes. It was Atalanta were attacking, and every chance almost looked identical because it's a typical Atalanta break where they just break and there's movement, and then there's balls in. And somehow the player that takes the shot is always free. They very good movement off the ball. Like I said, it was like a replay, shot after shot, and in the end, Spezia were really lucky. But it was pretty much the latter stages of the game. I don't know if Spezia tried to sit back or they just got tired or what it was, but Atalanta did look really good in the latter stages of that match.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think there's much more to say in that regards. And moving on, we're looking at Juventus beating Cagliari 2-0 at home with Ronaldo bagging 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes. Pirlo's Juventus are climbing the table, and they're climbing it steadily. That win put them into 4th spot, 4 points off the lead. And there, I just think we're starting to see the gears slowly move, and they've just built. And like I said, they're just building that momentum. They got lucky in the Champions League this week with that last-minute goal to get them the win and qualify them. But I just feel the players have a lot of respect for Pirlo, and it's showing it on the pitch. They are playing their hearts out, and I could see them winning the Scudetto again this year. What do you think?
Yeah, this was the game where it looked like they understood exactly how they wanted to play, and they did do that. But going into the game, it was pretty much virtually 25 years since Buffon debuted in the Serie A. So 25 years, and he's starting again for Juventus, which is insane, really. 25 years is crazy. But you had for Cagliari, they had Pedro and Simeone. They both had 5 or more goals, and that was the most lethal combination Serie A. But that's pretty much where it's finished. Morata again got caught offside. Once again, I didn't. It happened early in the movement, and he got caught offside. So the goal, I think it was Bernardeschi. The goal was disallowed. But Ronaldo is just a beast. Dribbled from outside to in, took the shot. Still fairly fair. He was in the box, but he was far further out. And then his second, the ball was almost past him, and somehow he got it in. It was insane. The defending was terrible. The defending was absolutely dreadful. How do you not mark Ronaldo? Juventus sort of got lucky because I swear it was the only attack that Cagliari had, and once again, they had a corner. I think it was a corner, so they played it to the player. They played it back, and he put the cross in, and they headed it in. But when they played it back, he was offside. And yeah, so that would have made it, 2-1. But they really didn't deserve it. I guess Juventus were all over him. Ronaldo, Yeah, he even, which is very surprising, the ball come in the box and he done the dummy and let the ball run straight past him, which is new for him, I guess. So, but yeah, Juventus keep on rolling undefeated.
Yeah, and
I think we've got a mute.
I've got it on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the Juventus results are just going to keep coming, and I can't see the undefeated ending anytime soon. But moving on, Fiorentina faced Benevento. They hosted them, and Fiorentina came out with another loss, losing 1-0 to Benevento, and Improta scored the goal in the 52nd minute. This was a game where Benevento let Fiorentina have the ball. They let them play with the ball, take their time, do what they needed to do. And when Benevento got the ball up the pitch, they would take their shots. There was a statistic I saw where Benevento created 9 big chances in the game with only 38% possession. And I think that just says a lot about Fiorentina and their defense. Overall, though, I can't see Fiorentina doing much better this season. I could see them hanging in. I can see them, hanging on. But Benevento, that win took them above Fiorentina in the table to 14th spot, on equal points with Spezia, Bologna, and that's it. But yeah, what did you think of the result?
Um, I've got to feel sorry for Prindelli. He probably worked really hard on the international break and decided, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And then Bonaventura gets hurt in the warm up, and so he's out. And then Ribéry gets hurt just before halftime. It's just a nightmare sort of start for him. That really did hurt. Benevento conceded 13 goals in the last 4 games prior. They hit they had a nice free kick. Benevento as well. They went very close. They had Fiorentina had a really good chance to score and equalised pretty late. And it was a nice save, but yeah, it was probably just if it was 0-0, 1-1, probably 0-0, then I probably would still be happy. But the 1-0 is fair enough.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Benevento's going to get those results, and they're definitely they're a force to be reckoned with. No team should underestimate them this season. But going from one team who shouldn't be underestimated to another, Hellas Verona hosted Sassuolo, where they lost 2-0. With Boga and Baradi scoring a goal in each half. It was at this point where, when the result finished, Sassuolo were actually top of the league table. They were top of the league table for that period before the Napoli-Milan game, which we will get to. But Sassuolo, they're a team which you see every year have this amazing patch, and it lasts about 4 or 5 games, and they get that far up the table that they save themselves from relegation and they put themselves in a healthy position. But this year it doesn't seem to be stopping, and I don't know. All credit to Sassuolo. They had a couple of players in the national squad, which was a great confidence boost for not just the players themselves, but the rest of the team, to see that they're finally getting some sort of recognition. But look, Hellas Verona was a test. But this week they'll be facing Inter. We'll get to that probably when I talk about Inter. But I just think they're putting away the teams they should be putting away, and they're doing it in style. What do you think, Vince?
Well, going into the game, Verona actually had the most points for a team playing at home. They had 10 points in 4 games. So that's pretty impressive. After the game, it's the first time in Sassuolo's history that they've gone 4 games away from home. I think it is consecutive winning. So it was like, well, one had the break, I guess, and it was quite funny because this game here was like, there's no way Sassuolo win this game. It was all Verona version. They hit the bar. I think it was 4 times they hit the post. And it was like they hit the post, and then Sassuolo just scored 2 insane goals. I mean, they were, with Mkhitaryan's goal, those 3 goals were probably the goals of the week. They're quite impressive, really. But it was like Paul Verona looked like they're giving everything, and then Sassuolo punished them, and they punished them. They punished them in style, and then even I think it was right at the end again. They hit the post again. You know what I mean? Like it's just so unlucky for Verona. But 2 strong teams. I think 2 strong teams. Both have different characteristics, I guess. And Sassuolo being ultra attacking. So it was an enjoyable game, to be honest. It really was. I'm getting a lot out of Verona again this year. Yeah.
Yeah, look, definitely an interesting game, and look, it's interesting the story, and is this going to be the Leicester City of the Serie A this year? Are they just going to keep that momentum train going, and are they going to clinch the title against all the odds? You never know. You never know. But moving on, Inter Milan hosted Torino. It was a 4-2 win, but the result does not tell the story. If the game went for 60 minutes, Inter would have lost 2-0. Simple as that. Inter conceded in the first half, just before half-time, and then a penalty was awarded for a high boot in the box, which resulted in connection with the chest. Inter play went on, VAR intervened, as Inter were given a free kick on the other side in such an attacking position. As the referee blew the whistle to signal the free kick to proceed, he went to do VAR, penalty awarded. Handanovic got a fingertip to that ball, and it just wasn't enough. 2-0 down, and something clicked. Something clicked in the heads of the Inter players, and I don't know if something did click in Inter's players, but at the same time, something fell out of the heads of the Torino players. Something that I don't know if they got dropped on their heads at halftime or something, but they just tried to not win. Like, they did their best not to win that game. The first goal Inter scored was a Lukaku shot, which came off the post, and it looked like schoolboy soccer. Honestly, yeah. Everyone's chasing this ball around the box. You got about 10 people trying to get to this ball. Lands at Sanchez's feet, and he puts it in perfectly. Lukaku got a tap in. Lukaku got a penalty, which was controversial at the time, but VAR looked at it, and Hakimi did get taken, and then Martinez sealed it off right before the 90th minute mark for those 4 goals. But I think what you take away from Inter from this fixture is, out of the 4 goals, Lukaku got 2 goals and 2 assists, and it just shows how valuable he is to this Inter squad. Conte played for the first time in a very long time 3 strikers, Sanchez, Martinez, and Lukaku, all at the same time. And that seemed to have done something. But at the end of the day, Conte's got something wrong. We saw it in this morning's Champions League fixture with Real Madrid, which just looked terrible. He rested the wrong players, in my opinion, for this game. And he just focused on... Look, at the end of the day, Inter got the 3 points, and that's what you're there to do. But you're playing a team other than Torino, like Sassuolo coming this week. You can't fall 2 goals behind with half an hour to go. Simple as that. If you fall behind 2-0 with half an hour to go, don't expect to get 4 in. I don't know if you've got anything else to add for that, but yeah, not a happy Inter fan here.
Yeah, I you know, I'm lost. I am lost with Conti. I am lost with the selection. I guess you know, I guess the two things to take out of the game was the intensity that changed with Inter. Was it the subs, or I don't know what it was, but there's clear, like it was just like light and day. Like they 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 turned on, and they're fighting for absolutely everything, and deservedly they got back in the game. However, Belotti wasn't playing for Torino. I think he pulled up her two in the pregame. So Torino's not a great team, and the one guy that's been scoring so many goals this year wasn't actually playing. And I think that Inter's probably lucky that they haven't faced anyone, you know, anyone absolutely brilliant and on fire so far this year. They've probably been a bit lucky. They got Lazio at a good time. Obviously they had no defenders and got 3 injuries in the first half, and that would have been one of their tough games. They played their toughest game against Milan and they lost that game. So if they this week here is going to be absolutely crucial for Inter to actually get just to prove everyone that after the Champions League that they're more than capable of actually challenging for the title, because I really can't see it. The formation, players he's picking, it just seems like if Messi can play every game, you know, why does he have to rotate all these players? You got the mute button on again.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I know that that's the case there. And the funny thing came up: Inter is still paying Spalletti's salary, so why don't we just get him in as caretaker manager for the rest of the season? But I can't see that happening. They want to cut all ties. Moving on, and other than AC Milan, this team here is the informed team. They should be in first place. They were docked 3 points after the first game of the season. And it is Roma who beat Parma 3-0. They are phenomenal. Mkhitaryan, goal of the week in my eyes, just phenomenal. He's scored two. Before halftime was 3-0, and they got to sit back and relax for that second half. And I just feel this isn't something that, it's not something that they're doing once off here or there. They beat Genoa. They belted their team in the Europa League 5-0. They beat Fiorentina. They drew with AC Milan. They're not playing bad at all. So I know you don't like to hear it, but they are ones to watch out for this season. What do you think?
Yeah, look, at the start of the year, I think everyone just thought, well, Roma's they just don't have the players. They did get Smalling on the last day of transfer, which changed the whole picture. Because their defense is a lot more stronger with Smalling now, plus the Kambula, Mancini. Their defense is one of the better defenses in the league. And it's I guess it picks itself pretty much as well. So the defense is strong. The movement for the midfield, like I'm watching Roma play, and they had a goal disallowed, an early goal disallowed. It was so tight as well. Another one that was so tight. They should have scored 5. They kind of remind me of I guess Milan a bit. A lot of movement off the field. Like off the ball. A lot of movement. They're playing for each other. No Dzeko. Like this is the thing. Like people said, if without Dzeko, they're not going to score any goals, and they're actually scoring a lot of goals. But I really believe that. I guess what happened last year with that whole president and that, like the CEO, whatever it is, not selling, and everyone wanted him gone. I think it's just a relief valve that everyone's actually a lot happier there because he's gone. They're all getting paid. So they realise that they're going to be spending money. So I think that they're actually playing. They're playing they're playing for each other. That they really are. So I think that you got a happy squad there, and I can. I don't know if they can win it, the whole league, but for a team, they remind me of Lazio probably a few years ago where they'd get those decent results and no one knew their players, but now everyone knows Lazio players, like all the starting ones anyway. And I feel Roma's sort of like that. They're overachieving for the squad that they have, and particularly a couple of those boys that come from the EPL just fit it in. They just. Yeah.
Yeah, Mkhitaryan and Smalling have done wonders there. The next game.
Well. Pedro as well.
Oh, yeah, Pedro too. I haven't seen much of Pedro, to be honest, but I know Mkhitaryan and Smalling have been phenomenal there. The next game was a very interesting game in my eyes before the start of the week. It was between two teams which are fairly mid-table, Bologna and Sampdoria. And yes, another game where Sampdoria concede another goal. And they conceded that goal after 7 minutes where, Sampdoria took the lead. There was an own goal given and Bologna tied it, then went on to win 2-1. It was a critical game for both teams. 3 points were valuable, extremely valuable to both teams. 1 point would have been valuable to both teams. But yeah, Bologna came out 3-0 victors. Not really much for me to say there. Mihalovic is Mihalovic. They've done well, but they're leaking goals. They're leaking goals, and 9 times out of 10, they're not scoring as many goals as what they're leaking. And just, just to put it into context, they lost this morning 4-2 to Spezia in the Coppa Italia, to Spezia. So I just think, they're hot, they're cold, they're hot, they're cold, but I don't know what else to say about them. What do you think, Vince?
Yeah, the Sump opener was set. Oh, mate, it was pretty. That header was it's just like a rocket. Like a goalkeeper tried to save it, went straight at him and couldn't stop it. Like it was a nice goal, but unfortunately, that own goal was dreadful. It was terrible. It's right in front of the goal. The only players around was his teammates, and he puts it in the net. Like it's a dreadful own goal. The coach got sent off, for Ranieri got sent off. Lost his shit, I guess, and he got sent off. Lonnie hit the post as well again, so I guess they thoroughly deserved it. Sampdoria, I think that they've had a habit so far this season of being very, very patchy in games. Very patchy. I think Kiefer's still out hurt. Kendrava's leading by example, I guess. He's been playing pretty good, I guess. But, they're just very patchy. Just very patchy.
Yeah, look, and I think that's where we leave that fixture. Moving on to the next game, it was Udinese hosting Genoa. Both teams at the start of the weekend were in relegation position. Udinese comes out 1-0 victors, and they jump from 19th to 16th spot on the table. Just shows how tight it is down there. But it was one of those games where Rodrigo De Paul, I've said it before, I'd love to see this guy at Inter. He got the goal for Udinese, and it was just that one goal game, and I don't know. I didn't watch too much of it. I did have a look at the statistics, and it looked fairly even across the board. Possession, shots, everything like that. I just think it was one of those games where anyone could have won it and could have ended a draw. If I was a betting man, which I am, I wouldn't have touched that game anyway. It was one of those ones you could not pick. Who's worse out of the two of them? Simple as that.
Yeah, well, that DePaul goal was actually a really nice team goal. It started virtually on the opposite side of the box, and there was a couple passes, and then DePaul just sort of cracks it in, I guess. So it was a fairly decent team goal. DePaul hit the post again in the second half. So yeah, he hit the bar as well. They come very close to doubling. Um, but they sort of I guess they sat a bit deeper. They don't get many wins with Udinese, so they got very very lucky with a disallowed goal right near the end. But then you know then they went on the attack again, Udinese, and man, Pirin, he came out and he had defenders sort of like, so he had drawn the attacker wide, and he still comes out flying with his feet, not even his hands. He come out flying with his feet, and I don't even know why he waited for the referee. Like, he got up and sort of waited for the referee to give the red card. I would walk, and it was. I think it was a stressful thing. It was a stupid challenge. Really didn't need to do it. Let him go past. At least you're there for your team next week. It was late in the game. So yeah, that was a stupid thing for him to do. I think anyway.
Yeah, look, you don't know what to say when it comes to decisions like that. It's luck of the draw, and he just did not make the right choice there. But moving on to the final game of the round, and it was what everyone called the game of the week, and it was between Napoli and Milan. And going into the fixture, Milan had not won at the San Paolo, which has now been renamed in honor of Diego Maradona. Just for those who have not heard that yet, Napoli has confirmed they're renaming the San Paolo in name to cement Diego Maradona's part in their history.
Is it Paolo Maradona that they're doing?
I don't know the official name. All I know, it's made official that they're renaming it, and I don't want to take a guess because I could be wrong. But so it was a very highly anticipated game across the board. And you know what? Milan just asserted their dominance. They came out 3-0, 3-1 winners, sorry. They were, Zlatan scored 2 goals to get them up 2-0. Mertens kicked back with a goal to make it 2-1, but then a 95th minute goal to their new signing gives it to AC Milan all 3 points, cements their spot back at the top of the table. Zlatan, fantastic. He's now injured for, they're saying, up to 10 days. They're not sure how long. So let's see how Milan perform without Zlatan, who has contributed so much to this squad in this coming week. But yeah, they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be tough. And coming up next week, they're facing Fiorentina. So is it a fortunate thing Zlatan's missing the Fiorentina game? They should be able to put away Fiorentina without the need for Zlatan there. But what's your thoughts? What's your opinion, mate?
Yeah, well, I think Ronaldo scored in the first 5 games now that he's played this season. So every game he's played, he's scored. And Zlatan is just, just insane. I think it's 10 goals in 6 games or something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. So he is playing, insane. Look, Polly was out. He had COVID, so the coach was out. Gattuso's playing his old club, and unfortunately, it's the first time in 10 years that they've actually won in the San Paolo or Maradona, the Stadium Maradona, whatever you want to call it now.
The new Maradona Stadium. But yeah, look, I don't know. There's not much more you can say about Milan. We predicted in our podcast last week the Napoli outcome. But yeah, I did try to do some fancy stuff and put the table as my background so we could go through it quickly and have that visual thing, but it was backwards. So I'm not going to read the teams backwards, and I don't expect you guys to do it. But look, there was a fair bit of movement in the table this week. Overall, a lot of the teams. So Milan remained in first spot. Sassuolo remained in second spot. Roma in third. Juventus fourth. Inter fifth. Napoli sixth, who before the start of the week were equal third.
And they could have went first, couldn't they? They could have virtually went equal first. With a win.
No, equals because Milan would have been. Yeah, they would have been equal first. Correct.
Yeah.
So that's a 6-point turnaround right there. Atalanta stay where they are on 7th. Lazio has climbed up to 8th. Hellas Verona on their own in 9th spot. 10th is shared between Sampdoria and Cagliari. 12th is shared between Bologna, Spezia, and Benevento, followed by Fiorentina, Udinese, Parma, Torino, Genoa, and Crotone. So there is some movement between first and 8th spot. It is 6 points.
Yeah.
6 points between first and 8th. So Milan go on a bad run and Lazio win 2 games. They overtake Milan. It's as simple as that. It is as tight as that. And it just shows the consistency in the top 8 teams. You know?
Well, I was actually thinking today, I think that Inter have played so poorly this season compared to, I guess, last season. And they're still well and truly in the fight. And realistically, if they win the next 2 Champions League games, they can still qualify. Like, so even though they haven't been playing that great, they're still there. They can actually still get through. And I think that's the same for a lot of teams. Juventus have been a bit up and down. Even this morning, yesterday morning, they struggled to break down the Turkish team there. They really struggled to break them down, and in the end, they got a last gasp winner, But teams. Milan has been on fire, and I predicted them to win it. I'd rather my team win it, but if my team can't win it, I'd like them to win it. But they're playing at such a high level, so I'm not quite sure if they can keep it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta agree. We saw right before international break, they got demolished in the Europa League. They are again in the Europa League this week. But from now until Christmas, there is 8 games remaining. So 8 games in the space of 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 games in the space of 30 days, we'll say. And that is including European competition. So this is for everyone who's in European competition. For the rest of them, it is 6 games, a bit more or less chaotic, but still 6 Serie A games in the space of 30 days. We're looking at a game every 5 days, and we're looking at teams now like Sassuolo, like Hellas Verona. Are they going to be able to stay up there with these consistently turning fixtures? All you need in your team is one positive COVID test, and it can ruin your entire team. There are so many things that can impact teams right now to get them. You think 6 points is a big thing, but right, that's 2 wins. Imagine Milan cop COVID after COVID after COVID, and then Zlatan comes back early and injures himself. They're going from first down to God knows where.
It could be a 12-point turnaround. It could be 4 games in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so. Exactly, and it's just it's exciting. I'm excited. I really hope this season doesn't get stopped. The situation in Italy is deteriorating as the days do go on in regards to COVID. So anything's possible, but it's exciting. Anything's possible, guys.
Yeah. All right, I think that's about it. we've covered everything. You know, such a shame. The legend's gone, but always be remembered. That's about it. So I'll see you later, Bruno. And
No worries. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. Always exciting talking everything Serie A.
all right. See you.